As a young man, July 4th, Thanksgiving and New Year's at home were the three big holidays of the year. We celebrated 4th of July with hot dogs and hamburgers, and we would go to Coney Island. We would get on the party boat and go up to upstate New York and stay on the boat dancing and listening to music and doing those things that you celebrate with all day. So this is a great day for me. Most people know that I spent most of my young adult life serving my country in the military. If they would take me back, I would go today. I loved the military. From a little boy, I remember my mother taking me to 42nd Street, and I watched the parade at the end of World War II. And she bought me a little toy soldier holding a flag, and I kept that little plaster Paris soldier, and so I went in the military. I don't know what happened to it. Probably got lost in the shuffle after I got grown. But my entire life, I wanted to be a soldier. And so I served most of my life, young adult life, in the military. And I love this country. I believe that the Creator, my Creator God, created me in this place that I live, we call the United States of America. And so I serve it. I serve it with great zeal. Okay, well, I don't want to spend the whole time of your interview talking about my relationship to the 4th of July, but it's one of my favorite holidays.
Yes, we definitely know that's a very important day. That's why we wanted this interview with you, is because we heard rumors that it was preparing for an exploratory committee, and we just want to ask your input on the 4th of July, some of your possibility of running for Congressional District 9 as a big 4th of July boom and blast, if you would say. If I can say that. You're Air Force, we got to watch you,
Well, yeah, I think I did tell some of our supporters that I would let them know on the 4th of July, I would make some sort of announcement, whether or not I would challenge Al Green, Congressional District 9 here in Fort Bend in Harris County. The answer to that question is no.
Okay.
A simple no. My call is to change the lives of people one person at a time. I will continue doing so. And the reason being is that I have found that there's no corporate solution to the sins and problems of man. If we're going to bring freedom to America, it has to be done one person at a time. If some enemy force is going to take us down, he's going to have to take us down one person at a time. There's always going to be somebody for and against. Those who know me, including yourself, know that I am not happy with the quality of representation that we have in the greater Houston area. I just don't see any of the congressional representatives playing out the role of the servant of the people. I see them all as kings and queens. They come into the community, to these functions, and they take over. They're the only people that get to speak, with the exception of one congressperson who attends most of the funerals in this area. I see no personal relationship between the representation of the representatives and the people. But it's a simple no. I believe that I can make a greater impact on the citizens of Houston, Harris County, and Fort Bend by remaining free.
I like that, free.
By remaining free, being able to say and to do as I please with God pleases me to do. So the answer to that question is, will I run for congressional seat 9? No, I won't.
Okay, one question, part two of that question. How did you feel a little 6-year-old reading your speech and saying, I will be the voice of patriotism and push for debate over hate? I mean, just to hear a child say that with such power and zeal.
Well, you know, most of my supporters are children. These are no fake kids, and the kids that come through MLK, they're genuine. They're real. They're not plastic.
Right.
So you know, the young lady who read that proposed proclamation of mine running for the office was really excited about it. And I'm excited about the fact that a 6-year-old can get excited about a political race.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is powerful.
No, too.
Okay. Thank you, Sergeant Small. I mean, to you always be Sarge the Air Force, but just want to know with that love, because you have known to portray love, and it's deeply portrayed as a walk, not a talk. I mean, your action, your walk has been one, unity. You definitely have a problem with division and separation, because that is a fault. You already, you have taught people the first thing in war you eliminate is the, what, Mr. Small, Sergeant Small?
The first death in war is the truth.
Wow, I see.
And so it's difficult to stay truthful in war at the same time.
Oh, my.
So the old Ed Small, Curly, I'd take that man on in a moment.
Wow. Woo! Y'all heard him, audience.
I'm a new person. I've been born again. I look at things differently.
Okay.
You know, and I know that I'm responsible for my walk. Now, those who know me know that I'm 100% what I'm doing. Matter of fact, I will criticize even you, who work very, very close to me. I'll tell you in a minute, if you're not doing something wholeheartedly, if you're not giving 100% to something, you're not giving all to it.
That's
and
correct.
So we have to learn to give 100%.
Thank you, sir.
And none of us are perfect, but I'm trying to walk this walk as good or in the excellent form that I can. And I know that if I were to go to Washington, D.C., I'd get drugged into that swamp of lies and hate and individual aristocracy over people, and it would dilute my walk.
Yes, and we do.
So I don't want to do that. You know, I want to go out a winner.
Yes.
You know, I tell folk all the time, and hopefully I don't insult anybody when I say I'm not a chump, I'm not a punk. You know, when I do something, I do it.
Yes, sir.
You know, and what I'm doing now is I'm finishing up here at the Martin Luther King Center. I know somebody's going to ask me a question about the Martin Luther King Center, and so you're free to ask that.
Yes, sir. That's next.
I didn't stay 11 years at the Martin Luther King Center to boil hot dogs. Most people think that, he feeds those kids, but that was really a secondary thing. I remained and fought the battle at the Martin Luther King Center to save this land.
Yes, sir.
Save this land. The largest single conglomeration or pieces of development of property within the historic Third Ward. Perhaps not quite as large as Emancipation Park with Reverend Dr. Yates and those ex-slaves that created that park so that we could celebrate on June 10th. But the difference is that the properties that we saved here at the Martin Luther King Center remained in the ownership of black people. Emancipation Park is not owned by black people. Dr. Yates, Reverend Dr. Yates, and them gave it to the city of Houston.
Wow.
You know, I don't know whether they didn't trust the people in their zeal to involve everybody in the emancipation of the black people here in Houston. I can't question that. But I saw the danger of all of this property, and it's quite a bit. It's not just this building that people talk about, the MLK Center. You know, it was, you know, countless amount of pieces of property throughout the city of Houston was put together by the MLK and the MLK board. Those great people. Mr. Brown, Vice President of Shell, and other Shell people that that gave their time and their expertise freely to manage this group of properties and the people here. And so I stayed because I wanted to save the land, and we did that.
Yes.
You know, we stopped a couple of the major banks from foreclosing and putting this property into the hands of developers. And I did it because I think you may know, you may have heard the story about my Aunt Helen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell us story, sir?
You know, I got a call some years back in the late 70s from cousin Janie, one of the first cousins out of South Carolina, and she was really concerned. She had found out that the banks had foreclosed on our property on Waterloo Island, and that my Aunt Helen, who was up in age at the time, was holding off these people, man. They can't take her land. Her father, her grandfather purchased this land back in the mid 1800s. And so I carry with me in my briefcase a copy of that lawsuit.
Wow.
Bank of Hollywood, South Carolina, Waterloo Island Land Development, and the FHA, the government, taking land from black people. I said it'll never happen again in our family. Now we want a portion of the land's lawsuit, but I still watch carefully to make sure that land is not taken from us.
Wow.
My great grandmother, Sylvester Hugie, she and her husband William Hugie obtained land that's still in our possession shortly after the emancipation of the Negro in South Carolina. We still control that land, and so saving land that belongs to black people is built. I don't know.
It's built in you, right? It's in your DNA. I mean, that was a calling.
It's in me. So for those people that don't know, I did not stay here 10 or 11 years to boil hot dogs. I stayed here 10 or 11 years to save this land. You know, this heirloom, this legacy of great men and women that love their community and love their people here in the Third Ward nearly 50 years ago.
Wow. We thank you. Thank you for that persevering and endurance. Would you continue as a full-time volunteer director at the MLK Center?
No. I've been wrestling with this, as you know, 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. You know, in our film, whether we call it 32 Degrees or whatever, we don't know what we're going to call it, but one of the scenes is the door is open. You know, and so we can trap ourselves through an addiction of who we were, as opposed to freeing ourselves to become who we can be.
Wow.
I don't think that God is finished with me yet. I've walked this earth nearly 77 years, but I don't think He's finished with me yet. He gets me up every morning. He puts more ideas in my mind. As you know, I have an obligation to save the Harris County Council Organization property. Mm-hmm. And we've got that. We're in the caretaker by taxation, and so I still have to get some younger people involved in that organization to see that the bills are paid. But at least we saved the property.
Yes, sir.
And we want to do the same thing in South Carolina with the Hughes property. So no, I won't be working full-time. I'll lend myself to the owners of the property. I have great admiration and respect for the Wheel Avenue Baptist Church family, who stepped in when no one else would do it, and took on the responsibility of eliminating bank foreclosures and forfeitures of the land to developers. And I tell folk, I'm not anti-development. I hope that Wheeler develops the place, but I wanted to see somebody develop some land that looked like me.
Yes, sir. And you're doing excellent training with the dry wells with the children and all the ministries and the different doors you open. Which you retiring, how would that affect those doors being open for the development training so it can look like you?
But, I've maintained strong relationships with the industrial community and black community, including the Nation of Islam, who works with me here 2 or 3 times a week with a reentry program for convicts, with construction training for young people, and welding, floor laying, tile laying, sheetrocking, so I'm excited about these younger people continuing the work.
Yeah,
but my heart is in South Carolina.
Yes, sir. And you've been in construction and development over 30 years, and the community engagement birthed from the military. So it's a long haul for you on community development and preserving land. So what are your plans for the future?
Well, getting a strong team at the Harris County Council of Organization, the oldest Negro civil rights organization in the state of Texas. I'm delighted that, the memberships selected me 3 years ago as their president. And last year didn't even have a called off the election to keep me there another 2 years. But that's going to be up in November. And hopefully we've selected some strong leaderships, from our community, one being Attorney Anthony Robinson, Billy Boy, who is our lead person within the Chinese community. And he's not Chinese, he's an African American from Third Ward, but he's really plugged into China. And he's going to take over the pack. And let these young people do it. I told them in our last meeting, I think you were there, I said, the Ed Smalls and the Danny Simmons, we need to move aside. We had our day. We're in our 70s and 80s. Let these young 30 or 40-year-old people bring the organization into the future. Meanwhile, I'm going to be somewhere around South Carolina. I tell folk I'm so grateful to God that a man from Peterfield, when I say Peterfield, South Carolina, unless you're from Peterfield, you probably don't know it exists because it's just a village in Hollywood, South Carolina. But a little old, nappy, curly-haired little boy that was taken, mother gave him to her sister in New York to be raised when he was 3 or 4 years old. And this life journey for him has been a tremendous journey. From the farmland and in the islands of sea islands of South Carolina to the streets of Bronx and Brooklyn, New York, Jersey City, New Jersey, through safe voyage to Vietnam, living in 9 different states, 3 different countries, and ended up here in Houston. And some 3 years ago, saw his name placed on a bronze plaque at the foot of Martin Luther King statue here in Houston. You know, that is just I mean, that's an unbelievable story.
Yes, it is.
That's an unbelievable story of how God has directed my steps over the last 76, 77 years. And so I want to honor my ancestors, my great-grandmother, the Hughes family, and the Small family. I want to honor them by erecting a monument to their greatness there at Hollywood, South Carolina. You know, on Cherry Hill Road, those 6.5 acres that we own there. I want to do something there. And, you know, I've asked God to give me another 14, 15 years. Give me 14, 15 years. I mean, just strengthen me to allow me to accomplish that. And that would be the period to the end of my sentence.
Stay tuned. We'll be looking forward to seeing what the next great things you'll be doing. And we thank you again.
Thank you.